Well, good morning and welcome to the Virginia SBDC's Google the Great webinar series. This webinar series is designed to give you an overview of how to actually use the powerful tools that Google has created and some practical tips from a small business perspective. Each webinar focuses on one Google product. If you've missed any of the other webinars, you can find a recorded version of them on the Virginia SBDC website, virginiasbdc.org, under online training. All of our Google the Great webinars are presented by Ray Sidney Smith, a self-proclaimed Googleologist and president of W3 Consulting, a digital business strategy firm that provides training on how to use various web-based technologies to small businesses. If you have any questions during the presentation, please type those into the question window, and Ray will do his best to answer them. Without further ado, here's Ray Sidney Smith.
Thank you, Tracy, and thank you to the Virginia SBDC Network for having me with these Google to Great webinars. So this morning we're going to be talking about on writing on the web, and it's sort of a pun on several memoirs with sort of the same topic, but we'll be talking about the product called Google Docs and the specific product, the sub-product underneath that called Documents. And so that everybody understands, Google Docs has recently been renamed or sort of pulled underneath a larger product called Google Drive, and I just want to give a little bit of context to all of that so everyone is sort of on the same page here. But Google Docs is actually something that originated from two different products. Google created a product called Google Spreadsheets. It was a labs project, which means that Google Labs is the employees of the Googlers, the employees of Google, were given the ability to take 10% of their hours, their coding hours, and code anything they would like, anything under the sun. And so they have this thing called Google Labs, and that's what Google employees do. Googlers basically spend 10% of their time coding whatever they'd like. And the 10% created Google Labs spreadsheets, which basically was a replacement for Microsoft Excel on the web, in the cloud. And so here we are today with Google Labs spreadsheets in 2006. Sorry, not today, but in 2006. And then Google went ahead and bought this product called Writely. And Writely was basically Microsoft Word in the cloud, okay, on the web. And Google, over time, in the course of 2006, merged the two products together and have built several other pieces together. So basically you have a Microsoft Office alternative that has been built into the Google platform. And so now basically the products that it would replace for Google Docs are Microsoft Office, Excel, PowerPoint, and it's sort of a pseudo product that's part of spreadsheets called Forms, and that allows you to create contact forms and surveys that you can immediately embed on your website for customers to go ahead and complete. And then another product called Drawing, which doesn't really have a specific related product in the world. It's a vector graphics or a graphics editing tool. And so you can create charts and other types of manipulable imagery that you can use for presentations and to import into Google Docs other documents, whether that's a documents document or something else like that. So all of these products were meshed together, and now you have the ability to go ahead and interact and collaborate with documents directly in the cloud, through your web browser with whomever you'd like to on the web. And it's a very, very controlled environment, and it's seamless. You can comment. You can see revision histories. And so in April of this year, Google went ahead and launched a new product called Google Drive. And Google Drive now holds Google Docs. And Google Drive is a file storage service. But it's a little bit smarter than a file storage service because it has the power of Google Docs built right into it. So Google Drive gives you 5 gigabytes of storage space up in the cloud. And that's been increased over time because of the nature of how Google Docs works and so on and so forth. So the amount of space that everyone has is sort of different. But for the most part, you should have a standard average of 5 gigabytes available to you within Google Drive. So what that means is you download this piece of software onto your desktop, and you can put any file you want in there. As soon as you toss that file in there, just drag and drop it into that folder, it becomes available wherever you want it to be available. But it first and foremost backs it up to the web. So you have this web backup. You have the document capable of being shared anywhere in the world with anyone that you want to, or no one at all, and it's in a secure environment that you can go ahead and do that. The storage also allows you to be able to go ahead and store any kind of file, and you can put anything in there, as long as it's less than 5 gigabytes. I mean, the cumulative number of files sizes are less than 5 gigabytes, and some of the files, like Microsoft Office documents and other kinds of documents, are actually readable by the Google system and will open up natively so that you can edit them live on the web. So a very, very powerful product called Google Drive that encompasses all of these others. And what we're going to specifically talk about today is going to be Google Docs documents. And I just want to take everybody into the product and just show you around it so that you're comfortable with using the tool and seeing some of the things that you can do with it. So without further ado, let's hop into the product. And you can see here that we go ahead and log into Google Docs. And in this particular case, I'm going to go ahead and log out and log back in so you can see what it looks like from the main page. So here we are at the main page of the Google Docs site, and I'll just let it come up so that you can see it. There may be a delay on your side. But basically, if you go to docs.google.com or if you go to drive.google.com, it will all take you here to this screen now. There's a little video on the screen. I recommend you watch it. It's very informative about sort of what Google Drive is all about. But it's really about being able to share and collaborate from one centralized place and to control that collaboration function easily. Okay? So this is what's called software as a service, or SaaS, and that means that there is no downloadable software necessarily that's necessary. So you can use it all in the cloud, or if you do want to use the Google Drive component that you download to your computer, you can save all of those files that are currently on your computer into Google Drive and share those to the rest of your employees, to customers if you need to. I use Google Drive, obviously, every day when I'm sharing documents with customers and with potential clients to be able to share, marketing materials and as well as reports that I prepare for them, and it just works so well. So here we are at the main screen. We go ahead and click on Sign In. We need, obviously, a Google account in order to be able to do that, and we're going to use this email address. Please, no one email me here. I say this every time, and I still get email here, but this is just a dummy account that I use for these types of presentations, okay? So here we are in the main screen of Google Drive, and you can see you have this list of documents that you're capable of, manipulating from these points. Notice there are no options when nothing is checked, but when you go ahead and check something, those options appear. I think a lot of people get confused about that, so just note, once you are interacting or manipulating something in the system, then the contextual menus appear. So just go ahead and click on something and you'll see what options are available to you with it. So on the left-hand side panel of Google Drive or Google Docs, you have the filters. The filters allow you to be able to see different types of screens. So you can consider them sort of like tabs. Across the top of the screen here, we have these tabs that take us to different Google products. But on the left-hand side panel here, we have these filters or tabs that take us to different ways in which to see the material. So in this particular case, I can see items that I've starred, very similar to Gmail, as we've talked about before. They have an owned by me category, so that view is for documents only that I own, maybe not ones that have been shared with me. All items, so it shows everything that is in the system all told. And then you can see your trash, things that you've moved into the trash can, okay? And my collections, if you have, collections are basically like folders, but folders, of course, don't allow you to have the same file in the same, file in two different folders. This allows you to have multiple collections associated with multiple files, or a single file. So you can put the same file in multiple collections. So if it makes sense for you to do that, you can go ahead and do that, and that's how collections work. And then you can, of course, look at collections that have been shared with you. Over time, you can, of course, also see different views, and the different views are recent activity. If I've recently modified a particular document or done something with something, you can see recent activity, and so on and so forth. So you can do all of those things from these views that are there. Other than that, we're going to jump on over to Google Docs documents because I really want to get into the product itself so you guys can see some of the power of Google Documents. So document is in the drop-down menu here. So if you just go to create and then document, you'll see the document. You can see the other products that are available, and we'll actually have a couple of webinars that we cover some of these products, not all of them, but we'll try and cover most of them. And you can see the creation of a document, a presentation, spreadsheet, a form, a drawing, or creating a new collection. Then you can, of course, have tables and scripts. We won't get into those. Those are far more advanced than you'll probably need. If you ever get to that point, you'll probably be more savvy with Google Docs and Google Drive than I am. So no worries there. You can create templates. So you can go ahead into the system and create a document from a template. So Google has created a template gallery, a template directory, and you can go ahead and find those templates and actually use them as bases for starting other documents. Was there a question, Tracy?
There was, before you jump over to Docs. What if you have two clients, but you need to keep things separate? One can't see the other's documents.
Oh, that's simple. So in Google Docs itself, sort of jumping ahead of this of myself here, but if you just click on this menu, click on this item, we check box it. We have a little head and shoulders, a little person there, and a plus sign. That's the share button. If I click on share, it now gives me the ability to go ahead and choose the people that I'm going to be able to share with. So I get the option to let's just pick a document that has less people in it. But here goes. So I'm sharing this with my dummy account here and myself, and you can see that I'm the owner. I can select for anyone else that they can edit it, can comment, or can just view the document, and only that person that I've given access to in that particular document can see that. I can also create collections and only share those, and I'll actually go over that in a little while when we talk about the sharing functionality. But here, this is where the sharing is going on. So yes, you're able to on a very granular level, pick a document and only share that specific document with that person, and then share another document with another person, and the two will not mix. They won't even know that the other one even exists. So no problems there. But I'll show you how to actually put a number of documents into a collection and then share that entire collection, so that every time you add something new to a collection, that is automatically shared with all of those other people. So you can centralize what documents you share with your staff and which ones stay private in your own system. Actually, while we're here and we're talking about it, I'll show you. So here we are. I have 3 documents here, and I'm gonna go ahead and check those 3 documents. When I click on the share button, you can see that the documents are automatically given to me in a list here for me to copy and paste and send along to people. But remember, this, as the notation here says, it says links to share only accessible by collaborators. So it means even if I gave these links away to someone, only someone who is listed in the number of people who are collaborators would be able to go ahead and access those documents. So the documents would only give me access based on my credentials that have been given to me by the owner of the document. So in this case, I want to go ahead and create a new collection. I'm going to go ahead and say create. I'm going to drop down to collection. I'm given an opportunity to go ahead and name a collection, all right? And I'm just going to name this collection shared with W3 Consulting employees. Okay, and so these are only items that I'm going to share with the staff, okay? And you can see here now that Google Drive has created a new folder for me that's called Shared with W3 Consulting Employees, and it's empty, okay? And now I can go back to Home, which is sort of like your inbox, and I can decide on which documents I want to go over there. So I'm just going to choose a couple of documents. If you just click on any part of the if you hover over any item, you can see that it turns sort of a peach color, a peach or salmon color, I'm not sure, and depending upon your screen. And I can go ahead and just drag and click and hold and drag, and it becomes this movable item. You can see it sort of floating as I'm holding it down, and I can just drag it right over the collection, the collection that I've created, and now it moves into that folder. Now what I can do here is you can see there's a drop-down menu for that collection. I can go up to share, and I can go ahead to share this particular item. And now I can add the various people on staff that would have access to this particular item. So I'm going to add a couple of people here, and And now those folks, I'll click you share, they'll get an email. I could have added a message to that also, letting them know what this is about. And now they have access to be able to edit any document I put inside of this shared with W3 Consulting employees bucket, okay, this collection here. So anything that shows up in here automatically gets shared with those folks. So that's collections. That's how sharing happens. You pretty much just select the item or you select the collection and you go ahead and share them. Also note that you can move things into or out of a collection from the home screen or any other view just by selecting the checkboxes next to the item and then going ahead and clicking on the organize button. So there's a little folder here. It looks like a little manila folder. You just click on the manila folder, and you can go ahead and decide on the collection that you want it to go into, and you can go ahead and click on that, and it'll go ahead and apply changes, and it'll do that. I'm going to click cancel, but you would click apply changes to make that happen. You can reverse that anytime as well. So a lot of people, if you shared something with a client and they're no longer required to have access to it, you can reverse that. So say, for instance, you sent a client a document at 5 p.m., you realized that you had a little bit of a frazzled day and you made an error, you can actually take away the right to see that document. If they haven't seen it yet, you can then go ahead and manipulate the document, fix it, edit it, get it back to where it needs to be, and then push it back out to them once it is ready. Okay, so it's a really, really powerful tool there. And for your client's sake, just know that it works in almost every browser. So in the most recent versions of Firefox, Internet Explorer, Safari, and Chrome, they run on all of the platforms. So Windows, Apple, Macintosh, OS X, and Linux. They work on all of those operating systems. So that's getting a little bit off the topic. We're going to go into documents. So if I go to Create and then Document, it'll go ahead and open up a new document within Google Drive. And here we are. It gives us an untitled document. If you're familiar with Microsoft Word, you would just open up a new document, create a new document, and it would open up a new Word document. This is basically your Word document. You're given a lot of the same tools that you're given within Microsoft Word. Now, it's a slimmed-down set of tools, so you're not going to have some things. And we'll go over that if you have questions about it. But otherwise, I'm just going to show you what it has, and you can presume that it doesn't have that if I haven't talked about it. But you have to sort of play around in some of the tools because they sometimes are sort of ways to get around these tools that you may or may not understand. So here we go. So first and foremost, if we come to the untitled document, I like to immediately go ahead and title the document, because if I have to step away from my computer and I forget what I was working on, I'd have hundreds of untitled documents sitting in my Google Drive account. So I don't want it to, of course, say untitled document. Excuse me. So here we are. It gives us the ability to rename document, and this is a time for me to explain something about saving and how it happens within the Google Drive system. So a lot of people are fearful about some of the software as a service type suites because you're worried that you're going to lose something. Well, Google has done something really brilliant, which is that they've set up their servers so that every time you make a change, you click the space bar, you hit backspace, you type a key on your keyboard, and it automatically saves everything back up to the server almost instantaneously. So no matter what changes you're making, Google Drive or Google Docs goes ahead and saves those changes and actually saves various versions of those changes as you move along. So every time you've made substantive changes, it goes ahead and clocks a version of that. And none of the Google Docs files that you're using actually work against your file size limit. So if you're going ahead and saving lots of files into Google Drive, one way in which to conserve space to not go against that 5 gigabyte file size limit, is that you can go ahead and just convert them to Google Docs. So any document that can be converted to Google Docs will be able to be converted and not set against your account. So that includes ODF, which is the OpenOffice.org, which is the free Office suite that's provided by Sun Microsystems. And then there's Microsoft Office documents. But basically ODF, HTML, PDF, RTF, which is the rich text file format, plain text, and Microsoft Office documents, Doc, DocX, XLS, all of those, and extensions for particular proprietary formats under Microsoft also work within Google Docs. So if those convert, they will not hold against your current allotment of space. So that means you can work on them directly within Google Drive, and they don't work against your storage limit. So I recommend really highly doing that. So here we are. We're going to name our document. We're just going to call this test document, and we're going to click OK. At that point, you can see that, oh, we had an error. Isn't that always the way? I think I held the document too long, open too long while I was trying to talk about it. All right, so we go ahead and click on Test Document. Click OK, and you can see up here, Google says all changes saved. Okay, and so when it's changing saves, when you're changing a document, it will say saving, and then as soon as all changes are saved, you can see that it saved the document. Notice there's no save button. There's no save button here in Google Docs because it's constantly saving. So this practice that we've had in Microsoft Office, which is save often, so that just in case your computer crashes or something else happens, you don't lose the data. In this particular case, Google has just basically taken over and just constantly is saving everything that you're doing. So it's very, very smart about that. All right, so we've named our document. We see here we have a blank slate, and the cursor's clicking at the top, is blinking at the top. We can change the margins. We can change left indent, and so on and so forth, and also right indent. So the downward arrows here, there's a blue arrow and a blue arrow here. We can change the indents, and we can also change the, you'll see that once you hover over the left margin, you can go ahead and change that left and right margin once the left and right indent are moved off of the main margin, okay, that you're working on. So very, very helpful to be able to change margins. So if you have a document that you're going to work on that is going to be wider, can be allowed to happen. They allow you space for headers and footers, and you can go and do those, and I'll show you that in a little while as well. So there goes, sort of your base format of the document. You want to go ahead and start there, and I'm actually going to reverse those and just leave us back at 1-inch margin. So it defaults to 1 inches on either side on an 8.5 by 11 page. Okay. So you start out at a base Arial 11-point font, and so that's the typeface that they've chosen. You can go ahead and change that. So if you're comfortable with working in Times New Roman, you can go ahead and change it to Times New Roman. If you're like me and getting a little bit older and you'd like to, of course, increase the point size of the font, you can go ahead and do that. I usually increase it to 12, so now when I type my own name, I can read it. So that's always a good thing. All right, so again, you can follow up along here and see it changing as we move along. You can at this point star the document next to the document name, so that if you just, for me, I star documents that I'm working on. So if I'm in process of working on something, I usually star the document, and that's what indicates for me that I'm working on that document, as opposed to any number of documents that I might see in my Google Drive inbox, or the home screen as it's called, the home view. So I want to go ahead and star it if I want to. If I know that I'm working on it, so I'll star it. And then it allows me to go ahead and add this to collections. So if I click on the little folder icon, it will show me the collections that are shared with me and the ones that I own. And if this one, for instance, was to be shared with my employees, I can go ahead and click on the Share button and click Apply, and it would automatically go ahead and give them access to this document. Once it gave them access to this document, they could immediately, right now, live go into the document and start commenting. So here's the comment function, and see if I just go ahead and type a comment, you'll see that people can go ahead and comment and resolve. Okay, so I typed a comment in here. If someone wanted to, they could go ahead and place a comment against my comment. They could basically reply to my comment about this particular document. So if I put a chart in here, and someone disagreed with the inclusion of that chart in this particular report, someone could say, oh, well, I don't really think we should add that, or maybe we should change the scale the X and Y axis aren't really the right X and Y axis, and we should change it so that the report reflects more accurately what we're trying to do. So I can, of course, contest their comment, or I can agree with it, and then go ahead and comment. Now, this is happening all live within Google Drive, and it's happening live on all of our screens. So this is simultaneous communication in real time. So you have no lag in the ability to go ahead and do it. So it's almost like instant messaging, if you want to think about it that way, and it's a very, very powerful way to collaborate with your staff. And at this point, all of this is free unless you're using the Google Apps for Business engine, which you're paying for. So Google Apps for Business, if you wanted to hold all of these files underneath your own domain, you would go ahead and have pay the $50 per user per year number. But this just right here in this personal account is completely free. So very powerful tool for no cost. And so here goes the commenting things. Commenting string, the thread. And once I'm done with this commenting string, I can click on what's called resolve. And resolve basically hides this discussion. So when I reopen this particular, when I reopen the comments bar, so if I just click out of it, it goes away. When I click back on comments, I can go ahead and hide this from future comments when I start commenting. So I can also reopen it. I can delete it. And I can also provide a link to this comment to other collaborators for them to go back to if they need to readdress an issue that was in a document from some time ago. Okay, so if we had hundreds of comments in this particular document, I could pull this one specific link so that people could go back to the specific comment that we had about X or Y. So very, very powerful tool. And I really like it. You also can notify people so that when some new comment happens or someone replies to a thread or mentions something, you can go ahead and get an email notification to come back to the document. I really like that when I'm working on something intensely with other people, to be able to get that email notification so that I can click right on in the email right back out to the document. It loads in my screen, and I can start working, commenting, and replying to folks as necessary. So very, very powerful tool. Again, we talked about sharing already. In this case, it's shared with no one because it's a new document. But if I were to add this to a collection, it would go ahead and be automatically shared. So if I go ahead up here and I just add it, apply it to the shared settings, when I click back on share, notice that it already says that it's being given access to 2 new people. So that's because I added it to a collection that already had some administrative rights associated with it, and now it's automatically giving that back to those people. So very powerful to be able to automatically share things very, very easily and quickly. All right, so onto the main toolbar. You have the main menu, so you have File, and you have the ability to open up new documents. We'll just open up new tabs or new windows so that you can create other Google Drive documents. You can open particular documents. You can open a file from your desktop or from the Google Drive account, so you can open up a new document here. Back here, we can go ahead and rename the document from here, but of course you could just click on the name of the document and it will open it up to edit. We can make a copy of this document, so you can use this document as a base template and then just keep opening up new copies by making a copy. It'll just basically say copy of test document when I open it up as a copy, and it'll keep doing that. Revision history is really cool because revision history basically goes back and takes these snapshots, as I talked about earlier, as you go ahead and make revisions to the document. So you revise the document, there's a version that's held, and now you can go ahead and see, as the changes are being made, you can go back to those particular changes. So I can restore to particular versions and of course see what those versions are. I haven't really done very much to this document, so in the last 4 or 5 minutes that it's been tracking it, it won't have anything. But you can see here, you can go ahead and do that, and you can show changes or not show changes from a little checkbox down at the bottom right-hand corner. Very, very powerful tool, especially if you've accidentally deleted a paragraph, or someone on staff has accidentally deleted something, or a client has changed something that really wasn't supposed to be changed. This is a great tool for being able to do that. And so we're going to close out our revision history, but make use of it. You can change the native language of the document you're working in. So if you have a translation business, or if you work with clients who speak multiple languages, you can go ahead and change the document to that native language so that you don't get a bunch of spelling, all red underlining from spelling errors. You can download most of these documents in multiple formats. In this case, Google Documents document can be downloaded in a .doc, which is the Microsoft Office Word file format, Open Document, which is ODT, which is the OpenOffice.org format, the rich text format, which is pretty much universally used by many different Office suites, PDF format, the Adobe format that can be used for Adobe Acrobat Reader or Acrobat Professional or whatnot, plain text, and as a web page. So you could literally write this, you could lay this out as a web page, basically creating a Google Docs document, and then save it as a web page, and it will download as a zip file with all of the images that you've put in and any other types of media format that you've put in there, and it will create an HTML page, and then you can literally upload that to your website, and it'll be live. So you could actually create a whole website just using the Google Docs document tool right here within Google Drive. You can publish this to the web, and so there are various levels of publishing to the web. You can publish this as non-indexed, meaning that you basically publish it to the web, but it's not being really indexed by Google unless you have links in it. If you have links in this document, Google will index it no matter what. It's not going to happen. It's not going to not be indexed if you put links in it. But if this is a static static document, no links, just plain text and images going down the page or pages, it could be published on the web, and you could basically no index it, basically telling Google and the other search engines, don't look at this document. I don't recommend you doing that unless you have some very good reason for it, but you could do that. Okay, and so you can automatically republish when changes are made, meaning that it will automatically publish the new changes to the document, or you can leave the static document that you published as it is. So you can continue to edit the document in its current state, but you can leave it in its old state as being published to folks out there on the web. And then after that, you'll see under Share, you go up to Share, and you can see the various levels of privacy. So here you see that it says private, only the people listed below can access this document. When I go ahead and click on Change, I can do two different levels of privacy beyond of removing privacy up from private. So I can put anyone with a link, meaning that you would have to send this link up here in the toolbar to someone without the edit. I mean, the edit wouldn't be there, but so this little part here wouldn't be here. But everything else before edit, you could send to someone, and they would be able to read it without signing into Google Docs. So that's the level of visibility that you can create. You go up one other level, and that's making it public on the web, and then you can go ahead and put that out there for anyone to see, that will be looked at by Google, that will be looked at by anybody who can basically search for it online. So you have all of those options to be able to go ahead and do that. And the really cool part about publishing items that you're working on in Google Drive is that if you upload a PDF, for instance, Google has created a special sort of a JavaScript, this web coding language, so that you can go ahead and open up that PDF, and it will open up in most modern browsers. So if you have an outdated browser, this might not work as well, but at least all of the current browsers that are the latest versions of them will open up that PDF right inside of the web browser. So you don't have that lag time of having to download the PDF, and it takes forever, and then you open up the PDF in Adobe Acrobat Reader or Adobe Reader or Adobe Acrobat. You just basically open up the file, and it natively opens up within the browser. Very, very clean way to display documents for your customers on your website by going ahead and uploading and then embedding those documents on your website that way. So really, really cool tool there. All right, so just getting through this, you can email collaborators on about this file. So if you have to email folks who may not be working in Google Drive or might be in a place where they can't access or type the link, you can go ahead and email them and let them know about the file itself. You can also paste a full copy of the text of this into the email. So if a collaborator of yours doesn't have the ability to edit the document live on Google Docs, you can go ahead and email them the full text of it. They can make changes and send it back to you, so you can at least see what their thoughts are on the subject. Then if you go down one more level, you can see here you can email as an attachment, and that basically allows you to attach the document in any of the formats that we talked about that you can download them in, and you can email them to the person. Again, you can also paste the item completely inside the email and send that to them as a rich text email. Okay. You can also add a message to the email, and you can send it to almost anyone. I mean, you can send it to anyone with an email address. So it also gives the ability to choose anyone within your contacts. You have page setup and print, so you have all the options of a normal page setup and print that is changing, margins, top, bottom, left, and right. You can also change paper size, and then of course orientation from portrait, which is sort of upright, to landscape, which is the wide view. And you can also change the page color. So I think that a lot of people miss that little feature there, but we can go ahead and change the page color so that it gives us a little bit of a background that matches what we want it to be. So that's really a powerful way, especially if you're doing something that's branded and you want the right color in the background. You can go ahead and do that. I'm going to change this from that stark color to something a little bit softer, but let's do that. There we go. It's a little bit softer. So now you can see the page a little bit better there. Under Edit, you have the normal options of undo and redo, paste, cut, copy, and paste. You can select all, and then of course there's a find and replace. If you just click on a Windows machine, Control F. On a Mac, you would go ahead and click the Command F, and it opens up this little finder function. You can go ahead and find a document and just type a word. So if I have, here we go. It will go ahead and find the word small and tells me there's one of one in that document that I just typed the words of, and it'll then allow me to scroll between those by clicking the up and down arrows. It'll let me go ahead and jump from each iteration that it's found. It also has a replace function. If I go back to Edit and click Find and Replace, it'll open up this window, and it'll allow me to be able to find small, and I can change that to really big. And if I click on Replace, it will replace just that first instance. If I clicked on Replace All, it will find all of them and replace them all at one time. And so there, if I click that button, you can see that it automatically replaced that. So you can just quickly go ahead and find and replace documents as you need to. I'm sorry, find and replace words as you need to. If you go under View, it gives you some different views. There's paginated, which means that it creates at the very bottom of these pages basically an end to the page. So if I go ahead and let's see, create a new page, you can see that there's sort of it looks like there's a beginning and ending of a page. And if I go back to View, it can also go to Compact, and Compact basically shrinks everything down so that only the only the places where I've actually put text appear. So this is a space where you can go in and basically, create a compact view. It allows you to truncate the blank spaces so that you don't have to see them. I don't like that, so I tend to play with paginated and stay with paginated. You can show the ruler at the top, or you can remove it, especially if you're working on a smaller screen. You can show the equation bar, which opens up this new bar. So if you're working in the math or sciences, you would probably use that a lot, or some other type of engineering field. But there is an equation bar. You can turn on and turn off spelling suggestions, and that is helpful on occasion. There's the compact controls. I don't recommend you doing that unless you really need to turn off you're really restricted by size. But the compact controls basically closes and pushes up the title of the document and so on and so forth. I find that actually doesn't help me, because if I don't remember what I was working on, it confuses me. Full screen allows you to go ahead and go into this mode, which basically hides all of the controls. So if you're just typing plain text, and you're just going and going in plain text, you can go ahead and go in and hide all of the controls. Again, I don't frequently need that, so I don't use it, but you can. And under Insert is probably the most powerful part of Google Docs because you can insert all sorts of really cool things. One, you can insert images from your desktop. You can insert images directly from the web. You can do searches within Google Google Images and your own photo albums that are loaded on the web. And you can, as I said before, you can upload documents from your own desktop or hard drive or wherever you have it. And so you can, of course, go ahead and link documents. So if I go up here and I highlight Virginia Small Business, if I go to Insert and Link, I can go ahead and type in the Virginia SBDC Network website, click on OK, and you can see that it creates a link to that page. If I click on the link, it gives me the link to go to, which will take me out to the Virginia SBDC website, and then I will be able to come back to it. I can change it, and I can also remove it. So if you get a document, for instance, from someone, and it has a link in it, and you don't want the link to be there, you can go ahead and just click on it and click Remove, and it will go away. Okay, it's a very powerful tool for being able to do that. So Insert is there. You can insert equations. I'm not going to get into that, but I did want to talk about drawing. So drawing is built into all of these products, and we'll actually do an image manipulation using Google Tools webinar upcoming soon, I hope. And the drawing is really cool because what this does is it opens up a mini format of Google Drawing, Google Docs Drawing, or Google Drive Drawing tool. So right in here we can go ahead and create shapes and manipulate and create graphics, whatever it might be for this particular setting, and we can do that all right here within Google Drawing, and it's now saved within this document. So as you can see, I just imported that document. Now if I needed to go ahead and edit this drawing, all I need to do is just click on when I click on the image itself, it'll have a drop-down menu, and if I click on Edit, it takes me back into the drawing function where I can go ahead and edit that document. Now, note that this drawing that I've created is embedded within this document. So if I go back out to Google Drive, you can see that I have test document, okay, and that drawing is not available as its own separate document. So I have a tendency to guide people that if you're going to use this drawing function, you're going to insert a drawing, you should probably insert a drawing that's from your current, a drawing that you have outside that you've created separately from the document, because you can go ahead and import the drawing. But if you do that from within the document, this is embedded inside this document. You can't use it somewhere else. So you can try, but it's a little bit more difficult to use this in other documents if you've created it directly within Google Drive, inside the document itself. So I recommend that if you're going to use the graphic, the chart, or the pie chart, or whatever it is, go ahead and create that as a separate Google Drive drawing, and then import it into it. So just so you know. Okay, so we can insert images into our documents. We can also go ahead and apply footnotes. So if we needed to put a particular footnote here, we can go ahead and put footnotes as to items, and you can see that it automatically does the footnoting. So if I had some text here and I wanted to place a footnote, it automatically puts that footnote and then applies the footnote at the bottom of the pages as necessary. So if you're writing some kind of report that required it, you can do that. Special characters, so if you use particular characters, you can go ahead and do that. I happen to like using arrows in my text, and so it automatically defaulted to symbol and to arrows, but you can do that under almost any kind of language or script that's available. So there's lots of options in terms of that, especially under punctuation, because sometimes some of the punctuation isn't on keyboards, and so that does give you that availability. You can add page numbering. You can put headers in and footers in, so that if you wanted to put your logo into the page, you can go ahead and do that. You can put a logo here, and then it will basically appear on every page. You can see that you can put that, in my case I put words, but you can put, of course, an image, and it will show up on the top of every page where you placed it. Okay, so really, really powerful. In the footer, you can, of course, put page numbers. So if we go ahead to footer, I can go ahead and insert page number, and I'll put bottom of the page, and there goes the page number. I'll center that for giggles, and now it'll go ahead and page number for me. So powerful tool there. And let's just run through these other items. It could do bookmarks, so that if you wanted to bookmark things, if anyone knows what an anchor is in HTML, it basically creates an anchor within the document so that you can jump to different sections. So if you wanted to create a table of contents, you would just basically create a listing of the pages using the number function. So in this case, if I wanted to, over here, just create a numbered list, I can go ahead and put section 1, section 2, section 3. Now, if I created the document with all the appropriate bookmarks, I can automatically use this listing to create a table of contents. So really cool function to be able to create a table of contents directly from the document, very similar to Microsoft Word. You can format things. So all of these functions actually appear across the toolbar here. So you can see that bold, italics, underline, changing the text color, changing the background of the text color, inserting links, inserting images, and then numbering, bulleting, left and right indent or increase and decrease indenting, and then all of the alignment tools. So if you want to left justify, if you want to go ahead and center, right justify, and then of course create sort of newsprint justify where it's justified on both sides, you can go ahead and do that as well. You can also change line spacing. So this of course changes line spacing, and you can of course do paragraph spacing as well in that option. So under format, you'd have all of those tools. If you ever come across a problem where you have issues with text formatting, there is this fun and very helpful tool that allows you to delete text formatting. So here under format, there's like a TX, so sort of like an X through the formatting. If you just go ahead and click on that, clear formatting, it will bring everything that you've highlighted back to its basic text. So it removes all of that, sort of background coding so that you just have text. You can go ahead and do that. Another thing that people don't know about most of your computers, if you hold down the Shift button and then Control V, which is paste, or Command V if you're on the Apple Mac system, but Shift plus copy or paste, Shift plus paste will paste only text. It will remove anything that you copied other than the text, because many times when you click on copy, it copies all of this background code that you don't see, but will be applied in the document. I don't know if you've ever done this, but you copied something from a web page, and then you go over to your Word document and you go ahead and paste that in there, and it looks all funky, or it's big, or whatever it might be, it's distorted. That's because it's gone ahead and copied all of that background coding. If you just hold down Shift and then paste, it will go ahead and remove all of that background coding and only apply the plain text. So very helpful. Under Tools, I'm not going to go over these in large case. I'm going to skip research. Under Define, you can basically define words that you might not know. So if you open up a document and you don't understand the word, you can just highlight it and it will look up that word for you. Word count is helpful if you have to worry about word count, if you're writing blog posts or something like that, and you want to make sure you have enough words or you have too many, which is typically my case. You go ahead and click on word count. You can translate documents using Google Translate, and you can, of course, change the preferences for what you are typing. This is really, really helpful because what this allows you to do is to be able to add new kinds of short code. So if I type in here ASDF as the items to replace, I'm going to go ahead and put in a longer set of text. And in this case, I'm just going to put dummy text here. But say that I wanted to put a paragraph or maybe 2 or 3 sentences, maybe not a paragraph, but 2 or 3 sentences. I've added that now as a new item as an automatic substitution. When I go into the text now and type in ASDF and hit Enter, notice that it went ahead and put in that text for me. So for you, if you have standard language that you have to put in many things, say you're in private practice as an attorney in real estate, and you have several standard language notations that you have to put into deeds, you could go ahead and add those standard notations, give it a little short name, and every time you type the short name, hit Enter, and it'll put in that paragraph, that sentence, that annotation that you always have to put in. say if you have purchase orders and you have to add a particular bit of language to each of those purchase orders, or standard language for sales contracts. You can do all of that using that little format, that little preferences tool. It's hidden under preferences, but it's a very, very powerful tool. Also, if you find that you keep getting replacements of items, say if you type in, as I do frequently, C's in parens and it automatically creates the copyright, you can go ahead and delete that or just uncheck it so that it won't do that. So you can turn those on and off. Sometimes you have a series where you might put 1/2/3, and in that case it would change it to the 2/3 character. You can go in here and go ahead and remove that. There are tables, so you can insert tables, 1 by 1, 2 by 2, 1 by 2, 2 by 1, those types of things. So you can go ahead and create tables in here, and then once you go in and create tables, you can delete and add and remove. You can also format those tables. So once you've created a table in a space, here we have a table. I can now go to Table and then go to Properties, and I can go ahead and change the border. I can remove borders. I can change column width. I can give new cell padding so that the space between the cells are such, and I can align them top, bottom, center, and so on and so forth. So lots of options in terms of creating tables within the document. If you need help, there is the Help Center, and you can also discuss documents within the user forum so that you can go ahead and discuss those there. If you do seem to come across a bug, which I do on occasion because I'm a heavy user, I will go ahead and report that issue to Google, and Google will go ahead and log that and help you in that. I'm going to close out by showing you some of these keyboard shortcuts because they're really fun. But basically, if you click on the question mark, let's see here. What is the function here? So this says that on the Mac it's command /. So I'm guessing that if it's on the PC it's going to be control /. But if you basically click on the control / or command /, you can see that there's this window that overlays on top of your document, and it gives you all of these really great keyboard shortcuts that are available in here. So if you for some reason don't know how to do something, you can go ahead and automatically do these things by the keyboard, so you don't have to take your hands off of the keyboard and go to the mouse to make very simple text modifications, formatting modifications, and what have you. So like, for instance, this Control-Shift-Y will give you the definition of a word, so that if you highlight something using the Shift, which if you just hold down Shift and arrow, you can go ahead and highlight something. You could go ahead and just hit Control-Shift-Y, and it will automatically give you the definition of that word. So very cool to have all the keyboard shortcuts and to learn those to just make things a little bit more efficient for you. And with that, that pretty much covers the Google Docs document tool, other than one other sort of tool that's aside from this, and it's called Google Cloud Connect. And Google Cloud Connect is a tool that allows you to be able to connect Microsoft Office document users with Google Docs. So what that means is that if I use Microsoft Office currently and I want to be able to use the collaborative tools that Google Drive has given me, I can install this little plugin, the Google Cloud Connect plugin, and it will go ahead and give me the functionality of Google's collaboration tools, the commenting and the sharing functionalities that we talked about. So this is the tool here. If you just Google Cloud Connect, it will come up. But basically, it gives you the collaborative editing, the revision history, the ability to share, as I said, and you can resolve overlapping edits, and you can also synchronize the document directly to your Google Cloud account. In this case, it's not yet available for Mac, as you can see here, but if I was on a PC, it would go ahead and allow me to do that. But it gives me the power over Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, and Excel, so that I can go ahead and collaborate with people, even if I was on a terminal, a computer terminal in Dubai. I could literally just open up a computer terminal, access it on the web, log into my Google Apps account or my Google account, open up the Google document, and immediately start collaborating with my staff back at home right within their Microsoft Office installation on their desktop. And it's live collaboration. It works really, really seamlessly. I've used it several times now, and I really, really like the way that it interfaces. So if you currently have Microsoft Office, or customers or staff with Microsoft Office, it's a really great addition to the whole system. So really recommend it. And with that, Tracy, if we have questions, I'd be happy to go ahead and answer any questions that folks might have.
Great, thanks, Ray. We do have several questions. Does Google track who's opened a document so the originator can see who's seen it?
So the Google Drive shows you the last person who's accessed the document, and then it also shows you who is currently viewing the document, and it shows you in the revision history who has edited the document. So I hope that answers the question. So those are the three ways that you can see people associated with the document. It shows you who last accessed the document, who the owner of the document is. So that's 4. So it shows you who the owner of the document is. It shows you who last accessed it. It shows you the revision history and who made edits to the document at what time and which edits they made. And then it shows you who is shared with that document and live viewing it.
Okay. Is there a feature that prohibits someone from downloading or printing a document? For example, if you just want to show them something versus giving them something.
So that is if you embed the document in HTML. So Google gives you the ability to embed some of these documents. That will not give them access to download it, but from the standard Google Drive view. Excuse me, I'm suffering from a little bit of cold today. From the standard Google Drive view, when you share, you're giving them access to be able to view the document, and they can typically download that document, from that view. So the standard is that you can give them access to it. If the document is a spreadsheet or a Google Docs document or a PDF, you can embed that in a website, and that will not give them the option to quickly download it. Now, they can still do it, but it's not as readily an option. It's not going to give them a toolbar to give them the option. But as soon as you share a document with someone, the perception is that you are giving them the ability to download it. So not really how that works. How I would do it is I would publish it, in some way, shape, or form as text in a website using Google Sites or something like that, not necessarily as a document like that. Or you would use Adobe Acrobat Professional that gives you the ability to lock the document so that people can't download or print it, but not within Google Drive.
Is there a place where you can, as far as the 5 gig allocation, is there a place where you can check how much space you are consuming at any time?
Yeah, that's so. At the bottom of your Google Drive home screen, you will see the allotment that it's taken. Let me just make sure that I'm being correct here with you. So here at the bottom of Google, oh no, they changed the view. So if you go to Settings, and then go under the gear icon, and then go to Settings, it will show it to you in here. You can see that you're currently using X amount of your account, and in this case, I have 5 gigabytes. You can upgrade the storage, and Google Drive can, I think, go up to 16 terabytes. So you can go up to, up to 16 terabytes, as it says here. But basically, you can get 100 gigabytes for $5 a month, which is relatively cheap. And if you need more storage, you can go up to the 16 terabyte per month, 16 terabytes for a monthly fee. But again, it gives you 5 gigabytes natively of drive space, 10 gigabytes of Gmail, and a gigabyte of Picasa photos. So that's a lot of space that it gives you.
This is back to, I guess, the showing things on the web. Regarding the public on the web, does this mean that this is the source document? In other words, if the doc changes in Google, unless you push it out, it doesn't appear. If you remove the document from Google, then it's removed from your website?
So if you remove the document and it's been indexed by Google, it's potentially out there forever. So just remember that when Google indexes something, they do what's called caching, and caching means they save a version of it. So it's a possibility that once you put a document out there, it could be saved forever in that version. Now, the goal in sort of to overcome that is to actually save a new version that's nothing. There's the same name of the file in the same place. Wait for Google to go ahead and index that nothingness, that blank document, and then delete it, so that the caching that they'll take is the latest version, which is nothing, and then deleting it from the web. Okay, so it's a little bit of a way of gaming the system, but that's the way you have to do it if you really want it to be gone. If we're not talking about caching, under the publishing world, where I showed you how to publish the document to the web, just click on Share, click on Publish, and that will automatically start publishing that document. If you update it within Google Drive and leave on the automatic publishing, it will be the live document you're editing that's being published. If you turn off the live updating, then it will be the static document you published originally and will not show the updates that you're putting in the document itself.
Okay. If you share a document with someone who doesn't have Google, will Google make them sign up for Google Docs?
If you share the document and you just want the person to view the document, it does not require a login. So under those options of sharing, as I showed, if you just share the document so that someone just wants to view, okay? So if I upload an Adobe Photoshop file, a PSD file, or a TIFF, and I just click on Share, and anyone can view this with a link, and I go ahead and shoot that out to that person's email address. They can have an AOL, Yahoo, their own business email address. They could get it, click on the link, it'll open the document, no login necessary. If you want the person to collaborate with you in any way, shape, or form, that is, they can edit the document, they can comment, they will need a Google account. And who doesn't want a Google account?
Any other questions? Well, great, Ray, and thank you everyone for participating today. I have a few housekeeping items. Today's webinar was recorded and it'll be posted to the Virginia SBDC website, again, virginiasbdc.org under online training. Tomorrow you'll be receiving a follow-up email on this webinar. There's going to be an evaluation link in the email. Please help us out to continue improving our training by taking time to complete the evaluation. I also posted a link to that evaluation in the chat window if you want to go ahead and complete that evaluation now. So our next webinar will be on August 30th, and we'll be going over Google Docs spreadsheets. Thank you very much for attending today. Thank you, Ray.
Thank you, everyone.